Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is Mr. Sepulveda with another Science Notebook update. Today is November 3rd. I will apologize, the last video came out what seems like a month ago. So there's a lot to catch up on, so I'm going to try to go through this as quickly as possible. We completed our second unit for genetics and evolution. Last time we stopped the video, we were at page 6, so we added a couple more pages to it, so let's go there. Okay. Page 7 was a Monster Baby Lab, but I have my version of my sketchbook, but you guys completed most of this either in your notebooks or on a separate sheet of paper. Page 8 is about inherited, learned, and acquired traits and behaviors, and this was intended to be mostly a review, so we kind of talked about genes or traits that we might inherit from our parents, right? Talked about traits that we can acquire, like here, and or learn based on the environment. So that's why I put an arrow over here. There's instincts or what we call inherited behaviors, so hibernating, right, or migrating. And then obviously other learned behaviors besides giving paw for a treat. There's riding a bike, making a sandwich, or watching TV, right? Some of these could be helpful, some of these could not be helpful. Okay. Then we went into our latest unit on ecosystems, right? We drew pictures on our title page that remind us or that we think of when we hear the word ecosystem. So we got fungi, mushroom, some grass, desert area. So we got the sun, we got a cactus, we got some mountains, a river. Okay. We are approximately 10 pages deep into this unit already. We've got our big idea page. Okay, we got 3 questions that we're going to be able to answer, and we'll probably start answering some of these today. We've got levels of an ecosystem where we started from an individual species, like one fish, to a population, a group of fish, to a community, that's fish plus other populations. And then we brought it into an ecosystem, which is that community level plus abiotic factors, okay? Things that are not living. Then we stretch out to a biome, and then of course the biosphere. And we'll talk about most of these biomes soon, okay, this week or into next week. We talked and covered abiotic and biotic factors. Biotic are just your living parts of the environment. Abiotic are the non-living parts. We talked about producers, okay? These are those organisms that make their own food, right? They produce their own food through a process known as photosynthesis. We talked about consumers and how there's different levels of consumers, whether you're a primary consumer, like this caterpillar, a secondary consumer, or a tertiary consumer, or top consumer, okay? So we broke it down to herbivores, carnivores, and omnivores. And of course, we talked a little bit about scavengers as well, but we talked mostly about scavengers where they relate to decomposers, right? And so decomposers can be fungi, bacteria, or invertebrate, and their jobs are to break down dead organisms, so dead plants, dead animals, right? That's why we find mushrooms on a log, or you might find mold on bread, okay? We also covered habitats and niches, and how habitats are the aspects of the area in which an organism lives, right? So that covers biotic and abiotic factors. We talked about niches as jobs that the organisms in those areas do, okay? I included a couple other things here for niches. So niches also include the flow of energy from one organism to another in an ecosystem. They support a single species at a time, actively performed by an organism, and is species specific, so not every species does the same exact thing. We took some notes on photosynthesis, right? That process again about how plants or producers make glucose or food, sugar, right, out of carbon dioxide and water. So this is just a little diagram, okay? And then the last thing we covered in class was about energy pyramids. And we talked about how the flow of energy moves from the base, moves from the producers in an ecosystem to the primary consumer, secondary consumer, and then the top consumer. And we talked about different examples as well as how much of that energy gets moved on from one level or trophic level to the next trophic level. Okay, Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if your notebook looks like mine, then you guys are good to go.